Hello. What we're going to look at is C++ methods. We're going to look at vectors and the menu-driven test paradigm to get data in and out of a file. First, our menu. Read numbers from a file, write them, and we're going to use the keyboard to create a bunch of numbers and then quit. And we're going to overload some things, but at the high level, we begin here. Here is our menu code. It looks similar to what we've done in class, where we have a choice, a local variable. We go through this while loop and we say if you entered a number less than the character 1 or greater than the character 4, we reject it because we only want 1, 2, 3, and 4 to be selected, and we return that choice. Where? Well, here's our main program. In our main program, we're going to have a string. We call it file name, and in here double quote numbers.txt. And I have a vector. A vector is an array that can grow and shrink. And this vector with this syntax says it'll be full of integers. The name of the vector is music. And here I fill it with a bunch of numbers, 1 through 10. My default data. Come down here to choice. Notice I have a do loop, do while, and it says clear the screen, go to the menu. If the person selected number 1, read data. Read it where? Go to this file and put the data in music. If the person entered in menu choice number 2, else if choice number 2, call the function write file, give it the name of the file, numbers again, and take the data from music, this vector right here, and send it to the file. What if I want to create my own data? Choice number 3, I go to the keyboard. Keyboard, I don't have to give it a file name. I just say load the data in my music vector. And so this program doesn't go incredibly fast. I slow it down and put it to sleep for 2 seconds. Did the person enter the number 4? No, I go back, clear the screen, get the menu, and repeat the process until the person quits. All right, so what do I really have to develop? These 3 functions. To help me develop them, I'm going to overload the insertion operator. Here, normally you say cout, and you put data right after the insertion operator. But what if I try to take this vector and send it out? It would not work because the compiler does not have a pattern to deal with vectors and cout. However, I can overload this operator so that it works with the output stream, any output stream. Cout is an output stream. It says give me any output stream and give me a vector full of integers, and don't give me a brand new copy, use the current copy, so give me a reference to it. Don't change anything, and whatever it is, call it vect. So when the compiler sees this word stuff, which is a vector full of integers, and cout, it'll match this pattern. What's the pattern? Cout is an output stream, so OS becomes cout. And vec becomes stuff. So now you can picture that stuff is going to be used in this for loop. It'll extract one item at a time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, into X. We'll print out X. Well, we're not really printing out. We're going to send it to our output stream, which in this case is cout, but it could be any output stream. Remember, we talked about output streams. They're generic creatures. It depends on how you use them. Then we'll return what we have. Here, the input key, the keyboard, what if I said input cin to stuff? Well, stuff is an integer, an array, a vector full of integers. The compiler wouldn't know what to do. But if I overload this operator again, here it is, the extractor, it says if you see an input stream, if you see an input stream, followed by a vector that you're allowed to change. Notice there's no constant here. I will come down to this piece of code, and this is incredibly fancy. What it will do is it will create a vector full of integers, and it'll grab the integers from our input file, the input stream, all the way to the end, and fill it in vector and set vec equal to it. Now over here, the way I use this sometimes is I let somebody enter Control Z to finish this. If they use Control Z, cin will crash. So it says if you're using cin with this, not a file, but cin or anything, and you crash, clear the error and ignore the last character, which would probably be the number 1 or -1 or something coming in here. So how do I use these? Well, here's the other files. Only 3 files to write now. Write file. Give me the name of the file, and give me the data, which is a vector of integers, and don't change it. I'm sending it out. Open up the file, output stream, using the name that we get here. So this name goes right in here. Now my data, if we open the file successfully, we skip this code, and our data is here. Now notice the pattern here. This is an output stream. This is a vector. And there's my insertion operator. I'm going to insert this data there. We go back a couple of screens. The pattern is output stream followed by a vector. Go to this code and use this code to print everything out. So this will actually not print it out. In this case, it'll send it to our file, wherever that file is. And then we're done, we close it up. And this is just so that we can see it, because we're testing everything. You don't really need this here. It works without it. Next, read a file. Again, tell me what's the name of the file. Now in this case, notice there's no constant here. I really want data here to leave, in a sense. There's the input stream. Again, says input stream, use the file that we just got, file in. It's full of integers. Pull all the integers out and stuff them in vector, and data will be set equal to it. And then close it up. And this we really don't need. It's just there so we can see what's going on. Next, going to the keyboard, I don't need a file. It's the keyboard. That's why I said keyboard. Notice it doesn't say constant. I call it fun because we're having fun. I don't know what fun has in it, but I'm going to wipe it clean when I come in here. And then I'm going to say cin, extract everything you see from the keyboard and put it in fun. Now cin does not know how to work with a vector, but if we go back to here, it tells me how to work with the vector right there. It's saying when you see stuff going in like this, you have this patterns matched. Don't have to know how this thing works. It's amazing. Input stream iterator. It says whatever you're looking at, in this case a file, or the keyboard, go there, pull out all the integers, and basically put them in vec. And if anything goes wrong, like Control Z at the end, reset it before you leave. So we go back here. So we went to that overloaded code, we come back, and again we have this thing overloaded, and it will display all our numbers. And again, we don't need this. This is just so we can see what we entered. These are the libraries we're going to use. Vector. Notice these angled brackets. You need this to tell the vector what it's going to be filled with inside. And we know how to use string. This is for input files and output files. There's cin, there's cout, cer, and there's sleep. The code will also be included. So you don't have to type it in, you just play with it and fix it. Thank you.